The Young and the Restless Spoilers. The fallout of family tensions, Claire's departure and the Newman family's struggle. In Genoa City, the emotional turmoil within the Newman family reaches a breaking point as Victoria Newman grapples with the fallout from her daughter's intense rivalry. Katie's demand to expel Claire from their home drives Claire to a heartbreaking decision, leaving the family in distress and uncertainty. Katie's ultimatum and Claire's departure. Katie Newman, driven by jealousy and resentment, issues an ultimatum to her mother, Victoria: either Claire leaves the Newman household, or Katie will continue to make life difficult. The constant friction and conflict have worn Victoria down, and she struggles to balance the needs of both her daughters. Claire, sensitive and deeply affected by the ongoing hostility, overhears Katie's harsh demand. Feeling rejected and unloved, Claire decides that leaving is the only way to bring peace to her family. In a moment of profound sadness, she writes a brief note to Victoria, expressing her desire to spare Katie further distress. The note simply reads, "Don't worry about me. I need to go where I can find peace." Without another word, Claire packs her belongings and quietly slips away, leaving Genoa City behind in search of solace and a place where she feels she belongs. Her sudden disappearance sends shockwaves through the Newman family, plunging Victoria into a state of fear and guilt. Victoria's desperation and Katie's regret. Victoria's heart sinks when she finds Claire's note and realizes her daughter is gone. The thought of Claire alone and vulnerable in an unfamiliar place terrifies her. She immediately begins to search for Claire, making frantic phone calls and reaching out to friends and family for any information on her whereabouts. Meanwhile, Katie faces the consequences of her actions. Victoria's anger and disappointment are palpable as she confronts Katie. "Do you realize what you've done?" Victoria's voice trembles with a mix of rage and despair. "Claire is your sister, and now she's gone because of your selfishness." Katie, overwhelmed with guilt and fear, breaks down in tears. She never intended for things to escalate this far and now feels the weight of her mistake. "I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't mean for this to happen. I just wanted things to be easier, but I didn't want Claire to leave." Victoria, too consumed by worry for Claire, finds it hard to console Katie. Her primary focus is on finding Claire and bringing her back home safely. "We need to find her, Katie. We need to make this right." Victoria's search for Claire is relentless. She contacts the authorities, hires private investigators, and uses all her resources to track down her daughter. Each passing day without news adds to her anxiety and desperation. Victoria's nights are sleepless, filled with worry about Claire's safety and well-being. As Victoria's search intensifies, she begins to reflect on the family dynamics that led to this crisis. She realizes that she has been so focused on managing the conflict between Katie and Claire that she missed the signs of Claire's deep emotional distress. The guilt weighs heavily on her, and she vows to do whatever it takes to bring Claire back and mend their fractured family. Katie's emotional journey. Katie, meanwhile, embarks on her own emotional journey. She struggles with the realization that her actions have driven Claire away and caused immense pain to their mother. Katie begins to understand the importance of family and the consequences of her jealousy and selfishness. Determined to make amends, Katie writes letters to Claire, expressing her regret and longing for reconciliation. She hopes that somehow, Claire will read them and understand her remorse. Katie also takes steps to change her behavior, showing more empathy and understanding toward those around her. Weeks turn into months, and still, there is no word from Claire. The Newman family continues to search, their hope waning but never extinguished. Then, one day, Victoria receives a phone call from a distant town. A kind stranger has found Claire and recognized her from the missing person reports. Claire is safe but hesitant to return home. Victoria immediately travels to the town, her heart racing with anticipation and fear. When she finally sees Claire, sitting alone in a quiet cafe, the relief is overwhelming. Victoria approaches her daughter with tears in her eyes. "Claire, I've missed you so much. Please, come home. We need you. I need you." Claire looks at her mother, her eyes filled with a mixture of pain and longing. "Mom, I left because I didn't want to be a burden. I thought it would make things easier for everyone." Victoria takes Claire's hands in hers, her voice trembling with emotion. "You are not a burden, Claire. You are my daughter, and I love you. We can work through this together, as a family. Please, come home.